Okay, hello. Gregory Frasch here. Welcome to Euphonic Sonics. So Past the Grove has finally been completed. It has taken an incredibly long time to get here. As many of you know, it is my second body of professional work. The choice was made to start here as far as professional recordings go, as it's really where all the energy was where we left off. I had finished that string of 30 shows, and it just felt right. It did kind of feel like there was perhaps more of an appropriate commercial sense involved there. Granted, this record could be described as ethereal and spacious. In the Velvet material, that first body of work was considered definitely of the psychedelic genre. Granted, everyone was booking that record, or really that demo, when it came to all those shows, but still, this is really just the pace that I was running at that time. Everything had really shifted gears at that point, as I was playing these acoustics around the country, and up until that point, of course, I think everybody kind of goes, well, maybe once you start playing shows everywhere, I think it really does change your mindset of who you are and the kind of art that you want to bring to everyone, and really just maybe what more you're capable of. This record took the better part of 4 years to actually record. And then it sat on the desk for about a year and a half to go through mixing and mastering. Now, granted, that is an incredibly inappropriate amount of time, one might say, to make a record. But that's just how it had to go. I really wasn't going to settle for second best. The guide tracks of this record were cut 4 times. Kind of ridiculous. I think the recording started in 2021, right when, the COVID type of, things started to happen. And then it was finally completing when the AI was really going through the roof and everything. So it was just a lot of things were happening during that period of time. And life was really what happens, of course, when you're making grand plans for it. It's really important to relay to everyone that there was such an air that I felt like was imperative to capture with the cutting of this record. Everything had to be just right every single time that I approached any instrument or microphone. And for those of you who don't know, I did cut each piece of music single-handedly, start to finish. It is 100% organic. And so that's where every time any recording took place, or even mixing took place, I was literally pristine. The air had to be just right. And granted, that made it take that much longer, because if I didn't feel just right, or if the air wasn't just right, if my heart didn't feel right, then there was not going to be any recording that was going to take place. I don't think that that will be a business model moving forward in the future, but it was one of those things where that was the way it was going to happen, and that's what took place. So here we are, and that's where it really turned out to be what I had dreamed. Of course, to get here, I had to really build. It became abundantly apparent to me throughout the years that no one was really going to guide me by the hand, and that I was really going to be on my own as far as creating this perfect product. You really can't foresee some of the obstacles that you're going to run into. And that's where, to create this perfect product, I was really shooting for the stars before the stars were achievable. And so that's where, during the cutting of the record and years prior, I was really gearing up for it. An incredible amount of things had to take place to make this actually come together. I had to form a number of different relationships to actually make it happen, as far as gear went and customization went. Building the desk behind me by hand, building speaker cabinets by hand. I just really didn't feel good about everything being so cookie cutter and store-bought, and things had to take place definitely on that organic level. Going through an incredible amount of gear acquisition syndrome and difficulties with tools, and so many things that I could relay in other videos. Probably better to not discuss all of them at this point. So again, it's just really important to let everyone know what went into this record. Of course, granted, it was in many moments a grind. I did find a lot of incredible joy while making this record. Painstaking effort as far as making sure everything was perfectly timed and was just right. It had to be something that we all really felt good about as, we, the the respective community of those listening to this. When you're cutting a record by yourself, it can also be difficult because there's no one to bounce anything off of. I would have loved for there to have been a group of people standing with me to actually make this record. But maybe it's just meant to be as far as me doing this on my own, so that the vision remained maybe respectively pure. It should go without saying how much I love making music and how much I've loved performing for everyone. And so to bring this to everyone is really the culmination of years of work. Maybe one could say a lifetime of work. So many years went by. I would have loved to have not seen the years go by, to have been bringing more music to everyone, but that's where you can't really foresee a lot of the hurdles. So it's my hope that we can move forward from here and to start doing shows again, and that everyone really, loves this record. There are so many things to talk about with this record. To really delve into the quality of this record, I was, again, not going to accept second best. I really didn't understand why anyone would record at less than 24,192, and I wasn't going to accept not recording with transformer balanced pre's and all those things. And so that really created a scenario where it placed everything so far back, because I was wrapped up in achieving how to access perfect sound, how to deliver perfect sound to everyone. Of course, in doing that, it really was like pioneering. When you look at forums and things like that out there, and for all of the research that I was doing, anyone who I spoke to, it was like nobody was actually cutting at that high of a quality. And so what it took to get there was as if it was like an act of Congress. It was like, well, what are we going to have to do to actually achieve this? Of course, now everybody's talking about AI, and there's incredibly powerful computers out there. And granted, we've made strides over the years. At that point in time, nobody knew what it was going to take to really get there when I had begun trying to cut records of the highest caliber at that point. So it's really strange because you'd think little old me pioneering all of this, becoming part of those who are literally almost in a test phase, in beta, basically. It seemed incredibly odd and incredibly ambitious. And it was really not the most fiscally wise decision either. It would have been a little easier to have invested in NVIDIA or something like that and, rode that, going up, right? From day one. But it was one of those things where that's how it goes. We were on another page. I really don't want in this video to really point at what I had to go through with the audio issues and picking up bad gear that was difficult, because this was all really aimed at talking about the quality at which it was really just being delivered. But it is still an opportunity to relay all those difficulties that were just a ridiculous burden. And it became a travesty, especially with the amount of time. Most people would not take that amount of time to go through those hurdles. And it's just shocking to see people that were sort of talking about pro level and that were cutting at low digital quality that really weren't talking at all about electronically balanced versus transformer balanced audio. So this is what we're facing at this point. It was sort of just, there was nobody there to talk to. There was really nobody who knew at that point that could be reached. Taking the long, hard path. So we'll have to really maybe create more content later on about it, as I'll really go on forever and ever. I really hope that everyone feels the magic that was so carefully imparted with each moment of recording. So thank you again for all the support over all this time. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope to be, again, bringing the shows back to you and to bring you more music as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.